Hi, this is Michael William Denney of the ThunderWizard.com YouTube channel. So, I want to tell you who is the Thunder Wizard. I'm going to try and answer all of the questions you have about me personally so you know who it is that you're learning from. A lot of people are asking me questions. So, stay tuned. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about me, the Thunder Wizard. More and more people are coming onto my channel, and I think because of the way the times are now, people are really wanting to check who are these people that are putting themselves out as spiritual teachers. And I think you should. You should check out everybody that you follow, everybody that claims to be a teacher. You should find out who they are. You should find out what their character is like. Because spirituality is a serious thing, and you should find the person that is right for you. I may not be the right person for you. I have no interest in creating a cult. I do this because the ancestors have told me to do it, and I get it out so that I can feel better. But trust me, I'm just an average person. If it were up to me, I'd just walk down the street and not get any attention from this at all. But this is my job, so I do it. What I mean by my job, meaning this is my karmic job. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So, who am I? Well, listen, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian home, very dysfunctional home. I won't get into that too personal, but it was very dysfunctional. And, you know, my mother and my dad were fundamentalist Christians. They went to a Baptist, whatever. My dad was a physicist, by the way. In fact, my dad was a brilliant physicist to the point where space aeronautics people are still trying to understand the depth of some of the things that he wrote about. He was, you know, for those of you flat earthers, you're going to wonder why I don't buy into flat earth stuff. My dad worked in aeronautics, and he was a major force in the space race. And I don't know if this is still true, but I know for a fact that my dad's satellites are in the Smithsonian. His name isn't under it because, you know, it went by the company that he worked for. But at one point in time, he held the title of having designed more satellites than any one man in the world. So my dad was a brilliant physicist, and so I know for a fact that the world is not flat. You know, my dad had his problems, but he wasn't a liar. And he definitely wouldn't have come home every day and shown me all this stuff and shown me what he was working on and shown me pictures from satellites from outer space. And he wouldn't have done that, you know, if he was, you know, if the world was flat, he wouldn't have done that. So, sorry. You can you can disbelieve my dad, but don't call him a liar to my face or you're going to see how angry I get. So that was my upbringing. I was a very devout Christian as a kid. I had visions, I had dreams, you know, I saw Jesus a couple of times, I left my body a couple of times. You know, now I have some different views about that, what that means. I won't get too into that. And then I went through my rebellious phase, as a lot of kids do, and I drank and I did drugs and I, you know, petty crimes, ran from the cops and all that kind of crap. And then when I hit 18, I went all the way to the other side and I went hardcore born-again Christian. And I did that for 4 years. I went to Bible college. I was going to be an evangelist until I realized that I was worshiping a deity who was in fact suffering from paranoid, borderline personality disorder. I mean, you know, once I really looked at who, you know, Jehovah was and what he's, you know, ritually murdering his own son just because he couldn't stand his own children whom he weren't perfect enough for him. I mean, all that. I just realized, you know, I can't do this. So I dropped it and I went through a huge period of horrific darkness and self-searching, and it was horrible. And I knew there was something, I didn't know what, but I certainly did not like religion, and I was really done. And by the way, I had to go through a whole deprogramming. Any of you a lot of you listening to me, maybe you grew up in a fundamentalist Christian environment or a Catholic environment. You know, there's a whole deprogramming that has to happen, and it took years for me to deprogram. I mean, now I don't, you know, I mean, I'm not worried about any of that. It's not entirely true. There's still a part of me that I still have to work with. But so, you know, that stuff to me is a cult. So anyways, I went through a few years of real darkness and searching and really angry, you know, walking around with, when it used to mean something, walking around with mohawks and, you know, scaring off people. And I'd walk down the street. I'd walk down the street and the whole sidewalk would part. Just because they could tell the anger was so intense as I was coming down the street. People would just stay away from me. I mean, there were times when I was surrounded by gang members. There was a couple of times when I had, you know, gang members around me, and they wanted my money, and I looked at them and I said, "You're not getting my money," and they saw the anger in my face and they got scared. I mean, they would just turn around and walk away. That's how angry I was. So, you know, around that time, then I found Taoist esoteric spirit fighting martial arts. This was a practice of Taoist wizards who were considered to be black magicians by the other Taoist sects. And what it really was is that they had perfected really powerful energy techniques, and they had perfected really powerful internal martial arts to the point where, you know, the stuff you see in movies, and you know, teaching me things about, you know, how to fight demons with your bare hands, and that takes a huge amount of energy. And this is why, you know, they didn't fight people, because the amount of energy it takes to fight demons, if you use it on a person, you can kill them instantly. So I had to take a vow. I took a vow that under no circumstances would I ever use my abilities on another person. I gave myself the caveat unless somebody was being attacked or in trouble. And then I said, you know what? I'm not even going to let that happen. And so I made a vow that I would never project or allow that to happen around me. And that's been true. I've never had to use my powers for any reason whatsoever. Only when I'm teaching, and, you know, that's it. So there's that. And then let's see, then I did a lot of yoga. I worked with a yoga master, a Kundalini yoga master, who is still my friend and my mentor and my teacher. And I still get together with a group of people with him. And our main goal is to get honest about our own unconscious projections and agendas, and to call each other on it. So that's part of what I do now. And let's see, then about 10 years ago, I went through an energetic crisis where my energy was getting so intense that I was getting headaches and all kinds of stuff. And it was because I had grown past what my teachers were able to teach me, and because I was mixing traditions, which you're not supposed to do, and I did it anyway because I really wanted to learn. And so out of desperation and meditation, because nobody could help me, I went and I meditated, and I'd never done this before, and I asked, you know, any guides out there to help me. If I had any spirit, you know, give me what I need to balance my energy, because it's too intense. And immediately I got the whole breath meditation. That's why I teach it to everybody. It'll balance all of your issues out. Do the whole breath. That's why. And other things, and I was getting visions and stuff, and I'm like, you know, and I practiced it, and it fixed me and made me very happy. And then I started wondering where it came from. And that's how I got involved in resurrecting the shamanic path of my pre-Christian ancestors, which actually, if I'm honest with you, I'm not really resurrecting the shamanic path. Some of it I think I am, but some of it they're telling me they have improved upon. You know, the spirits are improving, and they want to give me the improved version. So we're really moving into new territory with some of the stuff I'm teaching that I'm doing. And so that's why you see me talking about Vikings and the northern gods and all that. And just, I need to put a caveat out there. If you guys haven't figured it out, I'm not a racialist. I'm not a folkish person. I'm not into any kind of exclusion whatsoever. So if you want to follow my channel, you just have to know that. And you're going to know that I'm probably going to say things that are going to go against any racial exclusionism. If you want to work with me, if you want to follow me, you can hold to whatever beliefs you want, as long as you're respectful to me, my loved ones, my friends, and people who follow this channel. Other than that, you know, you're free to believe whatever you want. When it comes to my personal practice, don't copy my personal practice. You know, if you want to do what I did when I was in my late 20s, then get up in the morning, do yoga and stretching, do an hour of meditation, walk around all day, and you know, meditate. You know, go spend time in nature, and then spend anywhere from 2 to 4 hours doing qigong and energetic martial arts, and then do an hour of meditation. That's what I used to do back when I weighed 145 pounds, back when I was a monk, and back when I was, you know, when I was celibate. So if you're asking me what my daily practice is, what point in my life? That's not what I do now. I'm very different now. But because I did all that work, I got a huge amount of energy. So I don't have to do all that like I used to. Sometimes I do, but I don't have to. This is where Vedic astrology is really important. If you want to know what you should be doing, don't ask me what I do. Ask me to find out what you should be doing. The way that I can figure that out is by looking at your Vedic chart. I can find out what planets want to work with you. I can find out what deities want to work with you, what energies want to work with you, what mantras work for you. I can find out what time period you're going through, meaning which planet is really wanting to focus on you for the next 5, 10, or 20 years. And that will determine what you should be doing. If you want to know what I do nowadays, what I do is, you know, I live my life very comfortably. I really am all about just enjoying my life. I only do things that make me happy. So that means I spend a lot of time surfing. That means I spend a lot of time in the gym. That means that every night I do my meditation, and I have specific mantras that I do, and I do some qigong. I spend a lot of time when both my fiance and I have time, and we spend a lot of time together, and that makes me very happy. And you know, I go up to the mountains. You know, I try to go up a week every month, 1 week out of the month. I can't do that all the time, but I try and go up and hike in the mountains and be in nature. So that's what I do now. That's not what you need to do. In terms of my diet, people have asked me about my diet. When I was doing the hardcore Taoist monk thing, I was eating like a bird. I was 145 pounds. I'm 200 now, so you can guess. I was a lot of energy though. Boy, I was barely in this world. I felt like I could walk through walls. I probably could if I had made an intention to do that. Nowadays, what I eat now, I don't eat a lot of carbs. I mean, you can't avoid them, and I'm not super strict about it, but I don't eat a lot of carbs. I eat organic fruits. For me, my favorites are apples and oranges and berries and stuff like that. I do eat protein. I don't eat red meat, and I don't eat dairy, not for any moral reasons, but just because my body won't digest it. So I do eat lots of fish and chicken, turkey. That's pretty much it. You know, I'll do some other, shellfish too. So that's what I do, and I have to supplement because I am a weightlifter. I have to supplement my diet with pea protein, and that gets me onto the whole protein thing. There's people that have numerous times told me that the protein thing is a myth. Listen, again, this is why Vedic astrology is so important. Back when I was a monk, I had different planets that were working with me, and that affects your diet. Now, in your chart, my chart as well as anybody else's, everybody has, as you get older, there are planets that get weaker and there are planets that get stronger. In my chart, the planets that are getting stronger, really strong, are Mars and Saturn. Mars and Saturn are warrior planets. So that means that's going to be reflected in my body. You can see it. I mean, I shaved my head, that's because I'm going kind of bald up here. Got a lot of gray hair everywhere. That's the fire. You can't see it now. I look young, but when I let my beard and my hair grow, I look a hell of a lot older. But you can see underneath it, there's a lot of youth and vibrancy, and that has to do with, I honor those planets. Mars is a meat eater. And so if you want the blessing of Mars, I need to eat protein. So I know that, people, you do what you feel powerful about. You do what you feel connected to. And if it's important for you to be a vegan or a vegetarian, do it. And one thing I've learned is that everybody's different, and you can't project your reality onto other people. You can't do it. It won't work. So I know for me, I got to eat a lot of protein, and because if I don't, I'm up all night. My stomach is keeping me up all night. So just to sleep through the night, I've got to have a big, giant protein shake, and I've got to have had some protein earlier in the evening. So that's me. You aren't me. You be you. Don't be me. Be you. I can help you with that. So I hope that answers some of your questions about me and who I am, and all of that. If you want to really find out a lot about me, you got to go back and read the book, The Thunder Wizard Path, because I share a lot. That's when you're catching me as I'm really starting to be inundated with messages from the ancestors. And if you want to learn some of the really powerful experiences that I went through when I was practicing, I didn't even talk to you about the whole African shamanic thing. Read Awakening Sleipnir, and that will tell you some of the things that I went through if you really want to know what I went through. So Awakening Sleipnir and The Thunder Wizard Path will tell you a lot about me if you're really that interested. I'm not trying to promote myself, I'm just letting you know, because it would take forever if I just talked about myself. So that's it for now, my friends. Lots more to come. Thank you so much. If you like the channel, please support the channel. If you don't see the thing above, scroll below where it says support the channel. Subscribe, like, comment, leave your questions here. Contact me by email if you want any of my services. That's it, my friends. Talk to you soon.